Good afternoon, and welcome to Tuesday's free training. This is the November to Remember sequence, and I am Melissa Kirkpatrick, the business and life coach that you have been seeking in order to grow your business and to actually start creating your life by design. So I'm bringing you this training because I know how important it is that we create really successful habits as well as raise our energy in order to be successful. And not only are we successful in our life, but in our businesses and our relationships and our health and wellness, they all go together. It's all intertwined. And you, my friend, are here because you're really serious about being able to create more for your business and for your life. And I'm happy to provide this free Tuesday training. If you missed the other day, last week on Tuesday, we were talking about intentions and clarity. So I recommend that you go back and watch that. And also be sure to invite others to this group. This is a private group, so not just anyone can come in. I have to give them permission, but I would love to share this with the masses so other people can get this training as well. So again, I'm Melissa Kirkpatrick. I'm talking to you today about your habits and energy when it comes to creating a successful life and in leadership. So get a notepad, pencil, something to drink, and just lean in and listen to the information that I'm providing for you. All right, so habits. We all have them. We have good habits and we have bad habits, or what we identify to be good and bad. And habits, are definitely something that become very easy to fall into. And oftentimes we're so on autopilot with them, we don't even know that they're not serving us or supporting us. And perhaps we need to make some changes. And I'm going to show you today some of the ways that you can make subtle changes in your life in order to begin changing some habits that you're not really happy with or pleased with. So when we talk about habits, the ones that I would identify as maybe the bad habits would be things such as overindulging or overspending or over-consuming or overworking. Like it's those things that have the over part of it. Those habits are not necessarily the habits that we want to continue to receive more of. We want expansion and growth and vitality and energy around the things that we feel good about. So if you're someone that falls into that category of using the word over and then fill in the next word, that's probably an area that you need to take a closer look at. And there are ways to change these things into good or better habits. So how is a habit formed anyways? Habits are put on a loop. So when you wake up in the morning, you are triggered, right? To go in, use the restroom, brush your teeth, take a shower, whatever order that you do that in, but you've created those habits. And they didn't start right away because they had to be developed over time. But once they were developed, just like driving your car, pulling out of your driveway and going to work, it's a habit. You don't even have to think about it. It's autopilot, it's done. And so that's where we start looking at, okay, so if this habit is on a loop, what is it that I can do differently in order to change it? Well, first of all, we want to remove the judgment around it. We know what we want, we know what we don't want, but we also don't want to put judgment around the thing that we're trying to change first. So release that. So if it's something around like scrolling social media, oh my gosh, how many of us can fall into that category and know that it's not always serving us in our highest and best good? So we're going to use that. So there's a cue or a trigger with a habit. That's the first thing that happens that tells our brain that we need to go into this automatic mode. Okay, so what is it normally? The phone is sitting by the bedside. The minute we wake up, we grab it. And it could be 2 in the morning or 4 in the morning or first thing in the morning. We grab the phone and we go into autopilot, hit that social media button, and there we go. We start scrolling. So the behavior starts to unfold and it becomes a routine. So just like the routine of getting up and brushing your teeth, taking a shower and using the restroom or eating breakfast, like those habits are already formed. You've created that somewhere along the line of letting that be. Your cue is I'm awake. The trigger is the phone. And then the routine is I want to look at social media. I want to see what's going on. What did I miss? Because there's a craving that you're trying to fulfill, which is the behavior itself. And then there's a reward. There's a reward in this. There's where we decide, is this a habit I want to continue to do or a habit that I would like to adjust, change, or even let go of? So is the reward something that your brain likes it because it's created a habit around it, but is it something that is really serving you for your highest and best good? And oftentimes it's not. So whatever you're getting out of it, that's the whole process, the whole habit loop. But how could we break it in order to make it a better use of our time, a better use of social media? And so the first thing is the awareness. Take note of what it is you're doing. If I know that I'm going to reach for my phone in the minute I wake up, I have to make an adjustment. First starts there. Could I put the phone in the other room? Could I shut the phone completely down? Could I put it in the bathroom to where I go and turn the alarm off, but don't grab the phone? Like, I have to be aware of where the trigger starts, where the cue actually starts. And then from there, from that awareness, I can start creating a new process, a new habit loop that is in my highest and best good. So awareness of what you're doing is what I want and what I don't want. So I'm okay with scrolling social media. I just need to set it up a little differently so my morning doesn't start with all of this information that an hour later I'm still looking at the screen. Maybe I only want to look at it for 10 minutes or 5 minutes. One of the things that I love with Facebook is there's a feature that you can go in and set up your favorites. There's also a button that's recent post, and then of course you have your normal news feed. But the one I want to talk about is the favorites, because I can go in there and I can set up multiple favorites. So maybe I have one that says family and I just plug in family members. Then I have another one that's friends that I want to see what's going on in their life and in their day. Then I can have clients and put their names in there so I can be sure to check on them and their feeds and social media. And then there's also like associates or networking, whatever you want to identify it as, you can put that in there. And so that's going to be maybe one of the first things to adjust your time that you're losing this habit of scrolling mindlessly and not really accomplishing anything, so that you can gain a quicker in and out. So if I just want to go in first thing in the morning, make sure my family's okay, I just look at that, then drop out. Or if I go in, look at my family, everything's good there, then I want to come over here and I want to look at my clients and what they're doing, or maybe some social networking groups that I'm in, I can do all of that. So the thing, in addition to setting up a new habit, is what is the reward going to be at the end? It's going to give me more time because I'm not scrolling mindlessly. It's going to set me up to say, well, what is it that I want this outcome to be? Not just checking in and reading the information. What can I do with this information once I read it? So we're going to talk about that a little bit here in just a minute. But I also want to remind you that a habit tracker is another way that you can make sure that your habits are being fulfilled in the manner that you want them to be. So I like the gold star and check mark concept. So if I find myself over the next couple of days, I want to limit my social media scroll, or don't want to do it first thing in the morning, maybe that's all I want to do is not do it first thing in the morning or before I go to bed, I can check mark that. I can put it on my calendar. I can write it on a piece of paper, make my own chart, and then I can look at my results for the week or the month or the year. And it really is inspiring sometimes. Sometimes it feels like it's defeating if there's no check marks, but the goal is to get those check marks. And so that habit tracking is going to allow you to see, are you following through with your plan and your strategy? And you can even look at screen time. There's an app on your phone that'll tell you your screen time. How much time are you spending on your phone and where are you spending it at? So just think of those things, that as you're making these shifts into these new habits and letting go of some old behaviors, you can track that to get the results. My best way is to have an accountability partner so that you can really have someone to talk to and say, hey, here's my intention, which we talked about last week, and I have clarity around it, last week's recording. And then what is it I can do? Can you hold me accountable? Can I check in with you? Can I make sure that I'm following through with my plan? Because I really want to create these new habits, because these new habits are going to raise my vibration, my energy, and take me into that next version, that next level of who I am and what business I'm creating and what life I'm living. So other ways to track when you think about health and wellness, you can look at, your blood pressure, your sugar, your measurements, your weight loss. But another one I want to talk about that comes up a lot with my clients and myself is income producing activities. We go into business, we become entrepreneurs, we're working for companies because we want growth, we want expansion. And in order to create that, we have to have income producing opportunities that are presented in front of us. And so the way I look at this here again, the habit, right? The cue. So I walk into a networking event or I'm online with a networking event. How many people am I in front of? How many new people am I in front of? How many one-on-ones have I set up during that time together? How many of those will actually get on a call with me? How many people do I need to talk to in order to get a client or two? And that's the thing, these habits, this tracking your habits is, if I'm spending hours on social media scrolling mindlessly, and let's say it's 2 hours later, I may have been more productive if I would have went into Meetup or Eventbrite and started looking, where can I show up and be visible in front of my ideal client, in front of the person who's ready to pay for my services, instead of just looking at the same 30, 40 people that I see every day on social media. Then that's the income producing opportunity. That's a tracker. That's a way to spend time. And when you start finding where you're hanging out and your ideal clients are hanging out, you will be so busy growing your business and doing these one-on-one conversations and setting up appointments that you won't have time to scroll. So you're actually removing one habit for a better habit. And that's the thing. If you're not making money, you're not going to stay in business. And that is not the routine that we want to get into. I get it. Last year, we all had to readjust and find new ways of doing things, but we're pretty much back into the game, and we're pretty familiar with how we made money before, or how we raise awareness around our offers and our services. So it's really just now getting back into the habit of tracking what you're doing. And again, I can't speak highly enough about getting someone to hold you accountable, or finding that person or loved one. They can hold you accountable, but it's really someone who can see beyond your blind spots, who can see beyond your story and your excuses, because man, excuses will outweigh those desires every time if we let it. So that, having that coach, having that team, having that mastermind, having that support is how you're really going to come up stronger, brighter, build that lighthouse in the bedrock so your light can shine. And that all comes from being supported. So we definitely can have a one-on-one conversation outside of this training. Just message me and we'll set that up. So when we go back to thinking of examples of habits that we want to change, and I use, scrolling through social media, setting up your intentions for when you want to create with networking, getting clients, income producing activities. Also think about things as simple as if your business requires, if your business model would be supported by you going in and doing Facebook Lives like I'm doing, or training, or just a 1 minute, information. It's scary, right? The cue of it to do it is there, but it's scary. You're triggered by, what will people think? What if my hair's out of place? What if my background doesn't look good? What if my technology sucks? Whatever it is, the habit to form, you showing up for your tribe, your audience, and being connected, which is what prompted me to start these Tuesday trainings again, because I knew that's how I was engaging with others and being able to share these trainings, so people get a taste of what it is to work with me and who I am as a person. And that know, like, trust factor is so important when we're trying to grow and expand our businesses. So that was the reason. Now, I'm not someone who fears getting on the lives and doing the things, because I've been in front of people and doing motivational speaking and training and working with corporations, that I've overcome that. But I think I've always been someone who's not really been uncomfortable standing up in front of a group of people and having the conversation and teaching. I love to teach. So if that's, you're feeling the uncomfortableness, you want to do it. The thing is why is it that you would do it? What would the craving be? You want to get more people to have their eyes on you, to hear your message, to see what product and service you have available, right? And doing it consistently on a day-to-day basis is where you're going to track that momentum and start scaling your mind and your money with opportunities of how you can do it even better. And then the response is, people are liking, people are coming into your calendar, people are scheduling appointments, they're hiring you. And then the reward is, yes, I've gone from, $3,000 months to $5,000 months, or $10,000 months, whatever your income goal is. Or you've been able to get in front of the company that you always desire to be in front of, whatever that looks like for you. But that's how we create these habits. That's how we step into our authenticity and really start creating more of what we want and less of what what we don't want. That's key, my friends. Know what you want and know what you don't want, and focus on getting what it is that you want. So as soon as these behaviors can become automatic, as soon as you don't have to think about it or have to make decisions about it, your brain will help you and start going into overdrive and going into that habit mode. And you can start working less because everything is developed in a way that, I wake up in the morning and these are the things that I do, and I go at bed at night and these are the things that I do. And in between is where the magic, excitement, and fulfillment comes into play. So now, habits. Another interesting thing that I found and read about was habits that we have typically on our day to day can also be interrupted. And the way that they get interrupted is usually on vacation or outside of your normal environment. Yeah. How many of you have experienced maybe going on vacation? At home, you get up, take your shower, brush your teeth, eat your breakfast, and go out the door. But on vacation, we don't have to do that. So this is the part about the energy, how we can shift our energy into a different space so that we feel good about creating these new habits or experiencing these new opportunities in a different way, getting rid of the old version of yourself and bringing in the new version. So when I thought about this with, our habits, like I said, the habits on vacation are so different. I don't jump out of bed at the time I normally do. I may not even brush my teeth right away. I may go outside for a walk. I may eat my breakfast first. I may, do whatever, but it's different. So it's encouraged that if you are looking to really make a big change, you might want to consider when you're outside of your normal environment, outside of your normal routines, is when you can start focusing on creating new habits. And likely that behavior when you're on vacation or in another location is different. So you're a little more open. Your energy level's a little more in alignment with okay, how can I make this better? How can I make this good? I feel so great on vacation right now. The sun's on my face. And if you're in a hotel, someone's cleaning up your room behind you, or you're going and having room service or going to restaurants and people are cooking for you, right? You're in a whole different space, a whole different environment of feeling good, and your energy is raised. And that's a great place for you to start looking at, what can I do differently in my business and life to make it better? Okay, so if it helps, we can take, sorry, not if it helps, that was what my notes said. If it helps, what? So breaking the cues. We have to go back to those cues. We want to change the pattern and start breaking those cues up. So when we were talking about, you wake up first thing in the morning, you grab your phone, you start scrolling social media, or you wake up, go to the bathroom, brush your teeth, take a shower, eat your breakfast, whatever those cues are. This is where we can start looking at, okay, how can I interrupt those cues differently? Now, if you're on vacation, that's a huge one. But think about this. What if maybe tomorrow when you get dressed, you dress differently? So let's say you normally put your top on, then your pants on, then your shoes. What if you put your pants on, then your top, and then when you go to put your shoes on, do the opposite? Maybe you normally put your right shoe on first, put your left shoe on first. Yeah. Interrupt the cue, the pattern of what you normally know as the habit, the unconsciousness of doing things. Or for instance, when you brush your teeth, I brush my teeth with my right hand. What if I would change it and brush it with my left hand? It's a little more challenging, but it's interesting of how the habits, you do things so unconsciously that these new habits, by doing it with, even brushing your hair with the other hand. I put my makeup on first, then do my hair. Maybe I do my hair and then put my makeup on. It's about just interrupting those cues. And what happens, interesting, is the brain starts talking what are we doing here? I'm not used to this. This feels uncomfortable. This is odd. This is strange. And then that's that reprogramming of, but we want to do things differently. We want to create new habits. The other thing that I learned in a training one time is when you clasp your hands together, look what thumb is on top. So my right thumb is on top of my left hand. So if you unfold them and do it the opposite to now where my left thumb's over my right thumb, it feels uncomfortable. It feels better this way because that's how I automatically do it. It's just the habit of doing it that way. But if I will consciously say, I want to do it the opposite way, then I can start feeling the uncomfortableness, but at the same time, the awareness that it's not any harder to clasp them like this than it is the way that I have formed a habit. So all of this is breaking those patterns, starting to do things differently. And those are just a few examples of how you can start changing it. And Why do we want to do this? Because those old cues are so ingrained in us. We've got to find a way to shake them up. We've got to break them loose and just be able to not go into autopilot and just start making more conscious decisions and doing the things that we know we want to create. Are you familiar with the book Atomic Habits? I just did a review of that. It's a book about creating good habits and breaking bad ones. And I love the example he gives, and I think this will kind of wrap up our habits and our energy so that you can get a really good visual. So make it obvious. So if the habit is that you're trying to eat better and healthier, make it obvious. Instead of putting your fruit and vegetables in the refrigerator, create an environment, because our environments play such a key role, to where you put them on display front and center. Get a nice fruit dish, basket, something, and put what fruits and vegetables can be set out on display. We'll just say fruit, for example. One, it makes it more attractive. It's not opening up the refrigerator and being confused by all the other stuff. So if you make it attractive, then that you're more apt to grab it, eat it, and go. We used to have fruit baskets all the time when I was a kid. I don't do that now because we don't eat enough of it. There we go. Cue is, I'd rather eat something junk food than maybe a piece of fruit. Make it easy. So if you are putting fruit in there, think about the fruit that are easy to peel and maybe those that aren't so much, like an orange or a kiwi might be a little more challenging, but a banana and apple is an easy grab and go. So again, we're setting it up for ease and then make it satisfying. So if you're picking the fruit over maybe the other choices that aren't as healthy for you, you start getting that reward. So it goes back to those those four things. The cue is the fruit setting on the counter for me to be able to look at, like, admire, and grab and go. The craving is, I know how I'm going to feel once I choose that over something that's not as healthy. The response is, I'm satisfied. I made it easy. It's so easy to do that. And then the reward is that I'm satisfied, like it feels good. So that's just an example of how we can set up new habits for ourselves. Just like I said earlier in the conversation about, scrolling Facebook mindlessly, you can set up those accounts that, or those areas of favorites for just your family, your friends, your coworkers, your businesses, your networking. Make it easy. Find just those little ways. And I'm happy to help you with that. If you want to drop in my messenger box and say, Melissa, this is my challenge, I don't even know where to start, let me know. I want to help you. I want to help you really start gaining the momentum and traction so that you can create better habits and new habits that are going to make you more successful, that are going to make you feel good, raise your vibration, and just love the life that you're living every day. It can be that easy. And no judgment here. So whatever it is you're trying to create a new habit around, maybe you don't want to drink as much alcohol, or you don't want to smoke as much, or you don't want to sleep and lay around and be lazy. Whatever it is, it's okay. No judgment. Just drop it into my inbox and let's have the conversation there. Now, a little bit more on energy. I want to share with you about these habits. So it's hard to make a good decision when you feel like crap. And so be sure that anytime you're setting this new strategy to plan to change things, that you feel good about it, that your energy is raised. You don't want to come off a 12-hour shift at work and try to make a decision, right? It's hard enough to make a decision of what you're going to eat, and you just really want to go to bed. So energy plays such a key role in everything that we do that oftentimes we forget that our energy is being sucked out of us. There's energy suckers sometimes too, like the dishes need to be done, the laundry needs to be done, the grass needs to be mowed, or, you're missing your favorite TV show, something like that, or family's complaining, or friends are not showing up for you. That's, your energy is just being pulled in all different directions when we want to bring it back into a center space. And that way you can get clear. Start with your environment. Again, set it up to win. Maybe you burn a candle that's a scent that you love. Maybe you have pictures setting around that you can just look at and really get excited. This is me and my granddaughter. It sits here on my desk. I can look at it. It raises my vibration. Maybe I just need to do a minute of closing my eyes and meditating. Maybe take my shoes off and walk barefoot in the grass, or go outside and take a big inhale of the crisp, cool morning air. Also at night, look at the moon, look at the trees, look at the stars. People love to post sunsets and sunsets and sunrises. That brings them joy. That raises their vibration. That raises their energy. And that's what I offer you. Find that thing so you can feel good in that moment when you start creating these new habits, when you start going into sales conversations, when you start doing income producing activities. You got to feel good all the way. And remember, it doesn't have to be 100% of the time. It can be an 80-20. I love learning that with a nutritionist and health coach that I worked with earlier this year. It's progress over perfection, and the 80-20 rule will win every time. And that has served me so well, and hopefully it'll serve you as well, that nothing has to be 100%. If you are able to really think about, if I do it 80% of the time, I'm way better off than if I'm only doing it 20% of the time. And if I'm making progress, those little baby steps using that tracker, then I know that in the long term, it's going to multiply itself. Just like having those one-on-one calls, those discovery calls or sales calls. If I do enough of them, I know my conversion rate and what that looks like. It may take 50 people to show up for the event, 20 people to actually get their contact information, 10 people to get on the call, and one person to say yes. Although I would love all 50 of them to say yes right away, that's not how it works. Sometimes people aren't ready. Sometimes people want to delay their own success, and it's up to you to shine the light, to have the energy, and create those habits so that you are on autopilot, repeating what it is you do in your business, in your services, and how you help others. That's what we want to know, like, and trust about you. People want to walk away and know what they will have after they've worked with you, after they've experienced your services, after they've had a conversation with you, right? So that's the part about the habits and the energy. Notice what fills your cup. Notice that if you need a nap midday and you're not taking it and you become a grump bucket, but then get that nap in. Do it unapologetically. If you know that eating a salad and protein for lunch makes you have a really good rest of your afternoon, then do that. But if you notice that pop in that candy bar flattens you out at 2 o'clock and you're just grumpy and you're just irritated and irritable, then eliminate that. But again, the 80-20 rule, maybe on Fridays is when you do the pop in the candy bar mid-afternoon versus eating the healthy chicken and vegetables that keep you revved up and going Monday through Thursday, right? Weekend comes, do whatever you want to do if it feels good to do that. If you want to start drinking at noon, drink at noon. I don't know. Do the things that make you feel good and do them unapologetically. So the energy source is about you finding what keeps you going, what keeps you revved up, and how you can create daily habits to maintain that energy. Start with simple things like getting up at the same time every day or going to bed at the same time. Find that accountability partner, light those candles, have that picture, but don't beat yourself up if it's something that my desk is a cluttered mess and I am not going to clean it up, because every time I do, it goes right back to a cluttered mess. So if I can work in this environment, then I'm going to work in this environment. I'm definitely not going to beat myself up and be judgmental that I can't do the things. I was on a call the other day and someone was we were talking about how do you organize your social media posts or your emails. And the person's like, oh, I'm really bad at it. I don't do a good job. I don't even know where to start. Okay, well, stop right there. If you just do it by shooting from the hip and just intuitively putting a post out there, then be okay with that. Don't judge it. Just because everybody else has their Hootsuite filled out or they have their Excel spreadsheet and they know what they're going to say from the first till the end of the month, which I can't do that, then okay, good for them. Congratulations. That works for them. That's their tracker habit or the habit tracker. For me, I'm going to shoot from the hip until I need to do it differently and celebrate those wins. So as we wrap up, I just want to let you know that habits and energy go together. They really do. Just like intentions and clarity that we talked about last week go together as well. And it's important for you to be able to have the space, have the support, have the cheerleader to help you be able to do that. And that's what I do. If you want to know more about services that are available for you working with me, it's under Melissa Kirkpatrick, businesscoach.com/services. You'll find a list of everything that I do and help others on their journey, including mastermind small group, as well as daily accountabilities. And I also have the one-on-one 3-month and 6-month coaching support. So whatever that might look like for you, there's a form that you can book on my calendar or actually send me a private message. You can direct message me, but also know that there's 2 free gifts over there. There's the 5 steps to your own drive, which is the ebook and video training, and also the #1 tool for you to grow a successful business. Those are free. So go over and grab a copy of those. Again, that's Melissa Kirkpatrick, businesscoach.com/services. And let's see how we can get you from stuck to unstoppable. Let's see how we can get you from no clients to a lot of clients. Let's work on getting you from not enough income to more than enough income. And let's see how we can get you to say, I am so glad that I invested in myself because now life has changed. Everything is moving in a forward direction. I no longer feel stuck and stalled or running in quicksand. And Melissa has provided me with the motivation, the accountability, and the cheerleading from the sidelines to help me really get clear and start designing everything that I truly want for my business, for my life, for my health, for my wellness, and especially for my relationships. So I hope that this information has served you. Again, invite others to come in. We're going to talk next week again, and I don't have the list of what we're talking about, but be sure to look for the events page. We're also on Eventbrite. But for now, I'm sending you tons of love, lots of light. Remember, we're building our lighthouses in the bedrock so that we can shine our light and support others on their journey. So that's all I have for you today. So I will see you soon, but bye for now.